Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the 143. This is Under Review, episode 108, coming at you live.
This is our Super Bowl preview special. We will be giving you some predictions and just overall hypotheses of what's going to happen in this Super Bowl. We're looking forward to it. Two really deserving, really talented, all-around, phenomenal teams facing off in this Super Bowl. It's going to be a good game.
We are looking forward to it. You want to hear something funny? We recorded this entire episode not but 5 minutes ago. And then I looked down and realized that I didn't plug the mics in for the entire episode. So we're coming at you with another episode.
This is take two.
Take two with better sound quality. And
better content.
Just a funny story. But also, big announcement to make. This is the last episode in this studio that we'll be doing together.
I have gotten a new job in Dallas, so I will be moving back and starting that here pretty soon. So this is it in this studio now. Obviously,
it's not it.
It's not the end of the podcast. Okay, we have a good plan,
Silly.
idea, a good setup of what's going to happen from here on out. It is going to be virtual. Obviously, we've had issues with that in the past, but we're going to do something a little bit different.
Yeah.
So
now that it's permanent, we're trying to...
We have a good plan.
Yeah, so we know we got to get that quality of recording when we're virtual up to snuff, and that's the plan rolling forward. And so
obviously,
even though...
main thing... We're done in this studio, but that does not mean that the content stops.
Yeah.
We're giving you stuff weekly, just as usual.
Life changes.
The video will look a little bit different.
But this podcast doesn't change.
Exactly.
So thank y'all for being with us for this long, and hopefully you'll be with us for the continued...
Rest of eternity.
Yeah, forever. So start us off with the stat of the week, brought to you by Angels Logistics about the Super Bowl. The team that's wearing the white jerseys is 11-3 in the last 14 Super Bowls. So the team that will be wearing the whites is the Niners this year, the San Francisco 49ers. We'll see if the Chiefs can end that streak or
so
if the
they're
Niners are going to keep it going.
favored in that aspect.
Yep.
Obviously, we'll see if that continues. Your player of the week, I went with Patrick Mahomes. He threw for over 4,000 yards this season, 27 total touchdowns. You know, people are going to be looking to him to make the plays for the Chiefs. You know, obviously the offense runs through the quarterback, and when you have one of the greatest quarterbacks ever at the helm of your offense, great things are going to happen. He's going to put on a show as he always does. Playoff Mahomes is just a different breed. Playoff Kelsey is a different breed. The Chiefs are just different in the playoffs, so it's going to be a good game.
As we've seen.
It's going to be a good game.
They turned it they flipped a switch when they got into the playoffs, which is what Super Bowl champs do. You know, it's regular season. The point of the regular season is just to get in. And that's what they did. And then they just started rolling. What's the best time to peak? It's in the playoffs.
People were questioning the Chiefs' abilities this season, if they had what it takes to get it done. They were questioning Travis Kelce's abilities during the regular season. He wasn't as productive as we've seen in the past, but when January rolled around, you know, they kicked it into high gear. They locked in, and they have just been absolutely dialed in. Just one thing, one goal in mind is get that Lombardi trophy to solidify the Chiefs' dynasty.
If they win, they will be a dynasty. And
Absolutely.
The definition of dynasty that we've given is 3 in 5 years, or 3 with the same amount of core players.
And
so they have those.
both of those. They have both. They meet both of those requirements. This will be or could be the 3rd in 5 years. As you know, Patrick Mahomes, they acquired their first Super Bowl in 2020, which was against the 49ers. So this is a little bit of a full circle moment, you know, coming back to it. A lot of guys that played in that Super Bowl are still there. Obviously, you have Mahomes and Kelsey on the Chiefs side, and then you got Kittle, Debo on the 49ers side.
Yeah, on the other side, Brock Purdy is Mr. Irrelevant, last pick in the draft last year, coming into his second straight NFC Championship game. The success that he has had in this league is phenomenal, and he deserves it all to be. He deserves to be in the Super Bowl.
100%.
He's been balling out. He's been getting criticized, And I don't know why, because he's been balling his entire time.
He's going to try and get out there and win a Super Bowl because he's been called a system quarterback. And so
a game manager.
One of the better game managers or whatever people are saying. Like we said in our last episode, if you think that, you're just flat out wrong.
Quarterback is the most important position. So for a quarterback to be great like he's been, like to get his team to the Super Bowl, you're not just a game manager. But it'll be exciting to see him. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, you have the giant, the guy who's been dominating, been to the last 4 out of 5 Super Bowls.
Yep.
Then on the other hand, you have Brock, who
young up-and-comer trying to prove himself.
And, it's his first time in the Super Bowl. But I think the talent on both sides of the ball for both of these teams, this Super Bowl is going to be a good one. And like we've talked about off air, this is the teams you want to see in the Super Bowl. You want to see the dominant teams. You want to see, I understand, a lot of hate with the Chiefs, with what they've been doing kind of off the field, just how they've always been in the Super Bowl. You're tired of seeing the same people win it. But, I mean, you want to see the best of the best go toe-to-toe in the championship game.
I think of the matchup we could get for the Super Bowl, this will be one that makes it for the most exciting game that we could possibly get. Also, we're talking about players, but then also the other thing is you've got 2 coaches reduking it out.
Coaches.
From 2020. Obviously, you still had Andy Reid and then Kyle Shanahan.
Yep.
Both of them are going at it, and their stories are pretty similar to the Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy stigma, just a little bit. Because Andy Reid, he's been here for a long time. He's proven himself as a coach. He's trying to solidify this Chiefs dynasty. He's got some rings. He's done he's had a number of good seasons with the Eagles and now with the Chiefs. And then Shanahan, he has the talent, he has the ability, he's got, the smarts. He's created an offense that is really effective, and people continuously try and pick it apart, but they just can't figure it out. But the one thing he's lacking is rings.
Yep.
He's been waiting for this moment. He's been close a number of times. This will be his second Super Bowl appearance. He's been to that NFC Championship, but he's hungry for that Lombardi trophy. He's looking for that ring.
I mean, it's just one of those things that you're looking at. Andy Reid is a Hall of Famer. Kyle Shanahan could very well be these are 2 potential Hall of Fame coaches going head to head, both with amazing offensive schemes that are way above everyone else in the league, which is why they are revered the way that they are. And then you're looking at 2 defenses this year that have played phenomenally against the run and against the pass. And I mean, this is a big matchup. I mean, it's pretty even on all sides of the ball, except for maybe special teams, which I think the Chiefs have the special teams battle won. But which you never know. It could come down to kicking.
It could come down to a field goal. Who knows? We'll see.
But I think this is set up to be a great game, and that's what you want in a Super Bowl, is a close game. We've gotten that the last few years, and that's something I think we're going to get. We've talked about this as well, how throughout the playoffs, neither team, and throughout the last few years with the Chiefs in Super Bowls, like against the Niners in 2020, last year against the Eagles, they're down a pretty big amount going into the fourth quarter. They came back and won it. The Niners we've seen against the Packers and against the Lions. The Packers, they were down. They weren't looking great. A game-winning drive from Brock Purdy won them the game. Against the Niners at halftime, everyone was saying it's going to be a Lions Super Bowl, and including us. And they came out, and Brock Purdy changed the entire game, or managed the entire game, or whatever the haters want to say. But both of these teams, it's not over till the clock hits 0 at the end.
I mean, whatever the score is, you can't count either team out. You got to go out there and perform each and every single quarter. It doesn't matter what your lead is or how far ahead you get. You got to continuously play, because the momentum is going to play a huge factor in this game. What we were talking about as well off air before was how this could very well be a high-scoring, highly offensive game that turns into a shootout. I mean, that's what these offenses
These coaches definitely have not brought everything that they have.
Absolutely.
They've been saving it. I mean, they're great coaches. That's what coaches do for the playoffs, for the Super Bowl. I mean, you come up with new things, you save things. Also, when we say off air, we mean in the pre-recorded episode.
We mean intake uno, when the mics were not plugged in.
Yeah. So, but I think it very well could be a shoot. I see it being a shootout. I just don't think recently, the league has changed into an offensive league to where defense is important, but offense wins you the Super Bowl. Offense wins championships. And the last couple, in the last couple Super Bowls, it's come down to that, where, a penalty. That was Patrick Mahomes leading the drive at the end of the Super Bowl last year, right, with a penalty on Bradbury for holding. So that was an offensive drive that won the Chiefs the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And then in the Super Bowl before that with the Rams, they drove down the
game-winning drive. Matt Stafford in that Cooper Kupp connection.
You got to have a high-scoring offense.
I think it's going to be a highly offensive game. That's what we're looking forward to.
And like we said, these teams match up very well to both sides of the ball.
These are two good playoff teams. Obviously, both teams have been in the spotlight in prime time before, so they're not going to shy away from this moment. So there's no worry about, either team not showing up ready to play. I think we're going to get a very good game.
I think with the Niners, I think their focus, the Chiefs' corners have been so good recently in the playoffs. You got to attack the middle of the field. The linebackers have kind of been the weak spot for the Chiefs recently, which the Niners are really good at doing. Kittle and Debo are normally around the middle of the field somewhere in their route. And then the Chiefs, they're going to need to go on the outside. The corners lately for the Niners have been the weak point, which we saw against the Lions and the Packers. But there's some weak spots in those defenses, and I think on both sides of the ball, Kyle Shanahan, they know that.
I think you're going to be looking at George Kittle. I totally expect him to have a breakout game, really good numbers. Rashee Rice for the Chiefs, I think he's gonna play a huge role. Also, maybe MVS, who knows? Another thing we were talking about once again off air. Super excited to see Christian McCaffrey in this spot. Been a fan of him since he came into this league. Obviously, he's been one of the better running backs, or one of the best running backs over the last few years. But the issue was he played for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
And, they haven't been worth anything since they went to that Super Bowl with Cam.
And that was kind of a fluke year.
They didn't win it that year.
Nope.
But in the middle of the last season, McCaffrey goes to the 49ers, and so we're getting to see him compete and contend in the playoffs, and then he's finally reaching that goal, hopefully, of getting a ring. And so I'm super excited to see him. I can totally see him taking over the game. He's in the MVP conversation. He'll probably win Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
So he'll be a factor.
He was kind of before Brock. I guess he came in with Brock. He's been a big kind of missing piece for them. They've always had a good rushing attack, but C-Mac, he's not necessarily just a rusher. He's a great receiver. Just everything. He's going to be Offensive Player of the Year for a reason. And, with him and Brock Purdy in the backfield and all the weapons they have up front, it's going to be tough to stop. And the Chiefs are also tough to stop, which is why we think these defenses are great, but the offenses are just better. And so I think it will be a shootout. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get a final score in the 30s. Like what happened last year, which was the same kind of thing where both offenses were significantly better.
Had good defenses, but the offenses were the ones that took over in that game.
Yep. But I'm looking forward to it. For those of you that are worried that we won't be watching the game together, we will be watching the game together. I'm gonna fly up to Dallas, obviously. When I say fly, I mean drive. And gonna make sure that we definitely dissect
We'll be watching, analyzing every piece of that game together.
Yep. Just like we've been doing. And that's
we're
not changing.
We're excited for the halftime show. Usher.
Yeah. It should be a good one.
Making a resurgence, so to speak, early 2000s artist.
He's been producing, but he hasn't really been
really popular
singing
a long time ago. But I guess now he's back at it, obviously, because he's in the Super Bowl halftime show. So we'll be watching that too.
It should be a lot better than last year.
Yeah,
I'll say that. Last year was a down year.
I thought last year was good. I mean, I didn't have a problem with it.
Really?
But, I mean, obviously, one of the better ones was 2 years ago.
Yes.
The Rams.
That one was amazing.
Bengals, whenever they had all those
old school
different artists going at it. So, we'll see.
This one should be good. Super Bowl should be great. We're looking forward to it. Yeah, make sure you enjoy the Super Bowl. Don't think of it as the last game of the season because it is the last game of the season, but that'll make it a little depressing. So.
You don't have to worry about that until the game is over.
Yep, and then it'll
just enjoy it while you have it, and then you can worry about it being the last game when it's over.
But we will make sure to watch it and bring you our analysis of it on Wednesday, like we always do.
Right after the Super Bowl.
Because...
it will be happening every week after that.
Every week after that.
Don't even worry about it. This changes.
Hey, have we ever missed a week?
The answer is no.
We have not. Okay, we're not planning on doing it now. So, definitely wish Nick the best with his job in Dallas. And you will see us every week like you always do. So, thanks for tuning in this week. We'll see you next week with another episode of Under Review.